Hello, welcome to this week's episode of Undercurrent. I'm Deanna Cooney, your host, and I'm very thrilled to have you with me. On our first story this week, we'll be taking a look at the Royal Art Prize, which will be presented at the Royal Perth Show this year. With a total prize pool of $2,300, the prize is awarded to landscape artists to help them break new ground in their work.
I'm here today with Bill Keane, and he's the counsellor in charge of the Perth Royal Art Prize. So tell us a little bit about what's happening this year for the Perth Royal Art Prize.
Entries are now open for the Perth Royal Art Prize. We encourage entries from West Australian artists, be they professional or non-professional, although we now achieve a very exciting participation of some of Western Australia's most credentialed and up-and-coming artists. So we're now in the period before the Art Prize where we're encouraging entries. We're looking forward to, as we had last year, a broad, diverse range of entry, all painting on the theme of landscape. We do encourage a range of techniques used by artists to represent landscape. It's open to West Australian artists, be they professional or non-professional.
How long is this window open for people to submit their entries?
Entries are open until July. Our show is in September. There's a fair amount of time for people to enter, but they'd probably better get their skates on. You need to have created the work this year in 2019.
Also a very prestigious prize. You've recently had that prize reinvigorated. What was the reasons behind that?
The Society generally aims to celebrate the best. And what we wanted to do was to encourage the highest levels of quality and standard of participation. So we allocated $20,000 to the prize to show that we were serious, to show that we wanted to make a real commitment to the art community in Western Australia. Over the last 2 years particularly, entry from really a very exciting array of WA artists. Some names that people would recognise, including, for example, last year's winner, Penny Koss, whose work Landstain was just really a phenomenal piece of work. Penny's well known in the art community. Many other very exciting artists. So what we're seeing now in the Art Prize is really a representation of the shining lights of the Western Australian art community and some emerging and up-and-coming artists who are really making themselves known through our competition.
Other than the significant prize money, there's also an opportunity for the works to be displayed in front of thousands.
Yeah, well, in fact, there's two opportunities. So we get hundreds of entries. About the top 50 or so, they're chosen to exhibit as finalists. Those works are exhibited in the lead up to Perth Royal Show in the evening and then throughout the Perth Royal Show. So that's a lot of exposure. We have around 350,000 people come through the Perth Royal Show every year. It's a big cultural event. So we are bringing these artists in front of WA's largest annual cultural event. Even if you're not a finalist though, if your work is still judged of sufficient quality, then you're entitled to exhibit in the Salon, which is our secondary exhibition, and that's exhibited also at the Perth Royal Show. Those aren't finalists, so they're not eligible to win the $20,000 prize, but they still get all of the exposure of being exhibited at the Perth Royal Show. The Salon is an idea that in fact has a bit of history in the art world. It was first thought of in France as a way of showing artists who'd entered prize competitions that their work was still valued. And for us, we want to show the artists of Western Australia that we're about participation and excellence, and that we want to provide people with a real opportunity to get their art across to a very wide audience.
Is there anything else in the top key criterias?
One of the things you can't do, we don't accept photographic works. Those works are eligible to be exhibited in the photography prize. We're not restricting artists to oil on a canvas, to pure pictorial works. We're not just talking about pictures of animals or landscapes in a very traditional sense. Our highly commended artist last year, Kendall Gear, who's very young, her work Retreat was figurative. People are welcome to interpret the theme within the constraints of the rules. The rules are published, so check those. Provided you meet those criteria, our judges will look at the work on its artistic merit.
I'm Bas Tadros for Undercurrent.
For this week's Vox Pop, Tegan takes to the streets of Perth to ask your opinion on social media trolls. Why do they do it? What's the impact? And will it ever stop?
Alrighty, so do you use social media much?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I guess, yes. Yeah.
On the regular?
Yeah.
Yes, I do, yeah.
Are you on all the platforms?
Yeah.
I don't, not at all.
Facebook.
Facebook.
So what do you think about people that troll others on the internet?
I think that's horrible.
Yeah.
I honestly think that's so cruel to do to someone.
I've seen they've probably got a lot of time on their hands.
Yeah.
Probably most people that are studying and stuff, not working a lot. Just there to make a bit of entertainment for themselves.
Cowards, cowardly bullies. It's awful, and I agree that the Facebook, Twitter, these social media platforms, the management needs to be more responsible. Absolutely, 100%.
And there shouldn't be any forgiveness at all, I don't think.
Why do you think people do it though?
Honestly, because they get pleasure out of making other people feel bad about themselves, and they just have no lives really. Like,
Do you think the government wants people to intervene? Do you think that will actually happen, or do you think they will just like keep letting it happen?
They may intervene and might not actually do anything because no one really knows who most of these people are, so they're just sort of sat at home. But yeah, they probably will do something, but whether it affects it or not, I'm not sure.
You're always going to get that element of humanity that, you know, whatever way they can find to do it, they will do it. But let's make it impossible for them to do it on social media. Get them to write a letter. You know, it's, yeah.
Yeah, I think if there's some form of, giving them an identity, then I think it's a lot less that it's going to happen. If they know that their identity is going to be out there, then they'll think twice, maybe, hopefully.
I don't know if you will ever be able to stop people that do that stuff, like trolling other people and stuff. Like, I don't know how they would control it, but I hope it gets done.
Do you think people would actually say this to someone else's face?
No, because I think, as we've said, that they're cowards, that this is an easy way for them to throw away insults and upset people. But no, they wouldn't do it face to face.
Probably not. Yeah.
No. Honestly, I don't think so, no. I think they just feel brave behind a keyboard and hiding away.
Do you think if they actually were face to face with these people, they would actually say the same things that they're saying online?
100% not.
Yeah.
Nah, no way.
They hide behind their anonymity, and it's awful.
There's so much drama and hatred on the internet that shouldn't really be there in the first place, yeah.
This has been Tegan for Undercurrent.
For 10 years now, twice a month, like-minded political groups have met at a pub to discuss topics with the aim of bringing about change from within. Undercurrent was there to experience the evening.
Politics in the Pub, Perth, has been held for over a decade, and it brings together people from various ideological backgrounds based on their political beliefs. They sit down together, share drinks, food, and discuss immensely about politics of the day.
I'm part of a coordinating team that puts together a community discussion group nearly a decade, but it's only really taken off in the last 2 or 3 years in a pub in Perth called Politics in the Pub. It's a convention that's been used around the country for a number of years, and with the increasing polarisation of political discussion, we thought, well, now's the time to start making the discussions public rather than just being acrimonious in living rooms. We framed a number of discussions from political perspectives: unemployment, wage theft, depression, a whole range of cultural and social issues that have a relationship to political discourse. It's non-sectarian, largely based in the political parties that are in Perth. They're parties of the left, Socialist Alliance, the Communist Party of Australia, and also the Australian Labor Party. I think the like-mindedness is that we all think that relationships should be governed by social exchange and not just by economic exchange.
So as Secretary of Unions WA, I'm in charge, I suppose, of the peak union body in Western Australia. So the peak union body is responsible for running a series of campaigns and getting involved in issues that affect more than one union and, you know, groups of workers. So really it's a role which is about bringing unions together. So I'm here tonight as a guest speaker, and I'm speaking about our campaign to change the rules. So this is a national campaign being coordinated with the ACTU, run in every state state in Australia. And really what we're campaigning for is new laws. So we've been doing that in a number of ways. So things like tonight's Politics in the Pub is a great way to talk about the campaign and the issues. In all of the key areas that we're working, we've been holding community meetings. We've been doing that for over 12 months. We've been knocking on doors, we've been out in shopping centres and train stations, handing out material. Social media, lots of activities online. And next Wednesday we'll be having a rally, part of a national day of action right around Australia, where we'll be asking working people to come out and show their support in a really visible and loud way. So we're doing a whole variety of things to really, I suppose, build a strong campaign and a groundswell of support.
What Politics in a Pub has managed to achieve, I think, is to create a space where people can talk about contentious ideas, difficult ideas, but in a friendly atmosphere. I think everybody is familiar with the parties of the left. They occupy a space that involves discussion through demonstrations, engaging in community projects, public discourse at every opportunity.
29th of April 1997, 25,000 people marched through the streets of Perth. This is to rally against the third wave of industrial legislation.
The parties that are involved in Politics in the Pub are involved informally, come together as a conversational group, and they are Socialist Alliance, the Communist Party of Australia, and the Labour Party contributes speakers, largely through the trade union movement. There's a live cast of events when we have a Politics in the Pub, and beyond that, it just goes back into the community through discussion and other activities. I'd like to invite everybody to come along, have a convivial time, listen to things spoken that they might not hear spoken very often, because politics are always very difficult. It divides families and it divides workspaces.
Tony ETC for Undercurrent.
Don't go too far away. We're having a short break, but we'll be back very soon with more Perth stories here on Undercurrent.